Hi everyone, it's Ronnie. I came on tonight to tell you some news. A couple of wonderful things came to fruition this week that I've been working on for quite a while, and they say it comes in threes. Well, it did. Monday night I sent Libra to my publisher, and Wednesday at 2 a.m. I got an email saying the contract was in the mail, so the contract has been confirmed. The other day, December 1st, an article about Scorpio was featured in the Big Thrill magazine of international thriller writers, which was awesome, a very sweet interview. Last night, I was on Blog Talk Radio with Yvonne Mason, spur of the moment. She put it on that her guest had canceled. Who wants to do it? I raised my hand, and we had a fabulous time. So I wanted to tell you those things, and also to say I have not decided on the title for the 5th book as yet. Voting is still going on my author page. It's the pinned post. So please do that. This week was so busy. Just yesterday, I was at the pool and I sat down with some astrology books that I have from way back in the day, reading some things that might be a fit for a thriller novel. Well, nothing was decided, but today I sat down with a blank notebook and I started to think out scenarios. Well, even before that, I wanted to write down my options. So I really want to teach you in this video what I do to start from scratch with a novel. Because in Gemini, I had an idea about Aries. When I was working on Aries, I had an idea about Scorpio. In Scorpio, Libra started writing itself. But now, because Libra ended with a happily ever after, the best happily ever after there could possibly be in the world, but I'm not giving a spoiler about it, that was just a tease. So now I'm starting the 5th book from scratch. So this is what I do. And hopefully you'll be able to see it. I don't know, but basically when I come on these videos, I like to teach you something so that you can walk away and say, well, this was worth my while to listen. So I start with an empty page that just says book 5. And I don't know if you can see the writing from here, but I'll read it. I turn the page and I have lots of characters in the books that could be included in the 5th book. So if we go with, we have John Trenton, Vicki Trenton, Frank Chaos, Samantha Wright. Now supporting characters, we have Brett Case from the FBI, Lex Withers, Bella Richards, Nick Valatutti. And I could do the 5th book having one of these characters as primary, because it is a thriller and romantic suspense, so there will be a relationship. So what I do is I make a circle graph with spokes, and this is the way I do it even when I was teaching my writing class. So first we have the main characters, and I'll have Sam, Frank, John, and Vicki, and I'll brainstorm ideas of what trouble they can get into, what traumas they could have. Because after all, it's a thriller. You know something bad is going to happen. Or I can do the same kind of circle graph with the supporting characters. But then there are other characters that I can pick up from the previous books. Ariella Rose Larson, who was the antagonist in Aries, who's now in a psychiatric hospital. I could bring her back. Cara Glendale and Abby Ruth, who made their debut in Scorpio, I could bring them back to the 5th book. They were not in Libra. Then I have another character who did appear in Libra for the first time. Her name is Shauna Hendrick. Or I can even talk about the gutsy DEA agent, Marcus Wiltower, who has a thing for Sam. So what I'm going to do tomorrow at the pool is jot down what ifs. What if they were to get into such and such a situation? Now, I'll tell you, when I was planning Aries, I plotted a full 5 months in my notebook before I started to type chapter 1. And that works for me because I was able to get out 122,000 words in 3 months, 10 days. So my plotting worked. Now in Scorpio, I became a little more of what we call a pantser because I knew the characters, I knew their personalities. I let them take me where they wanted to with me reining them in. But yet I did a lot of planning on Scorpio in the beginning. Now Libra was a different animal altogether because Libra was started when I was writing Scorpio. In fact, when I was ending Scorpio and I was at my critique partners luncheon that we have a roundtable discussion, I was bringing up scenarios of what could be in Libra, and they were saying, wait a minute, what you did in Scorpio doesn't make sense. So Scorpio had pretty much of a rewrite, even at the end, before I submitted it, because I wanted Libra to make sense. So then when I started writing Libra, everything was plotted in my brain and on paper, and it flowed much more easily. So now I'm starting from scratch. So you have to decide for yourself what writing method is best for you. If you're writing 3 chapters and you hit a wall, it's because your characters aren't talking to you, and that's time for you to talk to them. And I would suggest start plotting your story. I always know my ending before I start to type. I've actually gone through it in my head. I become each character. I go through dialogue. I go through scenes. I go through emotions. I know what I want to convey on the paper. So it is a long journey. Take your time. And because now there are 3 books out, Aries, Gemini, and Scorpio, I'm pretty confident that when I discuss things with someone who wants to be published, someone who wants to write, I'm pretty confident that what I'm suggesting is on point because it works. Yes, you don't take anybody's word verbatim and you adjust it to your own way of work. But when someone with experience, and believe me, 3 books is nothing in comparison to major authors, but I'm still a lot further along than someone in a first novel. So, take the advice, because I know I had to take the advice. And if I didn't take the advice from my critique partners, for example, with Scorpio, Libra wouldn't have come to be. So every bit of advice, you sit back, you think, and you say, wait a minute, can I use this or not? So that's what I wanted to come in and talk to you about today. I will put the link to the article from International Thriller Writers, The Big Thrill, in the comments to this video. And I'll also put on the Yvonne Mason podcast as a link. We had a lot of laughs, so that will be a fun time for you to spend listening to that. And please do vote for your favorite sign to be the title of the 5th book. So have a great night, everybody.